So, yo, what's up, guys? We're back at it again with another Prfffflmp. It's Trevor, and
Sam.
and
And
we
Andrew.
have our special
Did you
guest
forget me?
judge.
We didn't
I
forget
said we
you.
have a
We
we have a
introduced you.
special guest judge this week, or host, I guess. You're not a judge. You're not judging anything. It's the one and only Andrew King,
What's up,
How
gentlemen?
you doing,
whose
man?
face is certainly
Oh,
not
and-
softened by a filter.
no, and I actually brought a special guest with me. I wanted to bring it out here.
I brought one as well. It's
Sam
the
is maybe the only one familiar with this, if the filter
hmm,
will allow it.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm very
I'm
familiar
not
with it,
familiar with
actually.
that, but I am
Someday, Trevor.
familiar with the crisp, refreshing taste of Dr. Pepper and its 23 flavors.
Nice.
So,
I am familiar with Penn Station. Buy one get one free
Oh,
sandwiches when Bengals win.
hey,
wow.
that doesn't
Okay.
happen that often, though, does it?
Oh, yeah.
No, it
You,
doesn't, but it finally happened.
not, that's. I bet they haven't even lost any money on
They're
that.
not losing any money.
Oh, goodness. Well,
All
enough
right,
about reality football. Let's dive into some fantasy football of the
let's
week.
log into the good stuff. All right, here we are. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to start off with that. Whoops, that's my bad.
Oh,
Um,
whoops. Yeah.
oh, hold on. Sorry, that I meant my bad. I meant to hold on
Is
one
this
second.
is this the I don't know which teams these are. I know that's Trevor's team, but I don't know
Oh,
what the other team is
No,
there.
well,
I
hold on.
mean,
Let's. Oh,
I
wait.
mean,
What?
let's.
Wait. Is that? Oh,
Oh
that's
my
not what I
gosh.
meant to click. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm my bad. I keep clicking the wrong button.
Yeah.
What's
Okay, there we are. We
what's
found
going
it.
on?
We found it. All right. Well, Sam, what's first on the docket here? Do you have us scheduled out here?
No, I don't. I've done zero show prep.
That's
But
fair. I haven't either.
why don't we just why don't we just save the best for last this time?
Sure. How about we start here at the bottom and just work our way up? Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
All right. We'll start with the match that the people really wanted to see. You
Hmm.
know, this was Cody really fighting to keep the unstoppable force stopped.
Correct.
Um, However, this week, the unstoppable force really did look relatively unstoppable, right? Hold on, I'm
Beast.
gonna move you guys. There we go. Yeah, now you guys are like up on the top. Yeah. So here we got, the unstoppable force, Jacob beating really kind of the pants off Cody there, right?
Cody.
Um,
And what I want to bring up right away is you see that he decided to start Sam Darnold this
Yeah.
week, which is
you know,
a big move that he definitely didn't do because I texted him at 12:20 on Sunday and said you have 30 minutes to change
He
your
did that
quarterback.
without your help. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Now, granted, I think he still would have won with Caleb Williams, but I'd like to see Sam Darnold in there. And I like to give Sam Darnold, his props, right? I mean, kind of nobody wanted Sam Darnold,
Yeah.
and I think the Vikings probably got him for pretty much free
Yeah.
in terms of actual dollars and cents.
Basically
And
a high quality journeyman who was just on essentially the Paradise Lake Film Festival circuit
Yeah.
and finally got his shot to get called up to party room and nailed it year one. I think that's
mhm.
the comparison here.
So is he the Levi of fantasy football?
Maybe, except Levi never had bad years. Where like Sam
Right,
Darnold did look like a bust for a number of years,
he
but it
did.
was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh no, it just turns out if you like live on toxic football teams, your stats are gonna look that way too.
Right. If you play for the Jets and then the Panthers, you probably won't look very good because
Correct.
right now they have Aaron Rodgers and he doesn't look very good for the
Correct.
Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Sam Darnold was a really good starting choice, especially,
Yeah,
Caleb Williams has been okay, but Sam Darnold's
yeah.
he's an MVP front runner right now, which is crazy.
He
Mhm.
That is a wild statement that is 100% correct.
Yep.
Um,
Another, a good showing for the Vikings for Jacob. Aaron Jones had a pretty good game as well.
Mhm.
he did, yeah.
And a
One of probably
possible,
the
sorry,
Go
can I
ahead.
say real quick?
Yeah,
And
yeah, certainly.
here's the thing: Jacob was stopped for a while, but he definitely does not have a bad team.
No,
And Goddard has shown, I'm biased, obviously, but Goddard has shown he can have big weeks. But also
it's true.
Marvin Harrison Jr. being the rookie of the year, I think it's fair to say he's leading candidate at this point. I think it's fair to say.
Mm,
Um,
Malik Neighbors, maybe.
Jaden Daniels,
Oh,
maybe.
Oh,
Maybe.
probably it'll be Jaden
that's fair.
Daniels.
That's fair.
You're
Okay,
right. Yeah.
he's at
But
least
yeah, no, he's in the
he's up there.
conversation,
He's up
certainly.
there.
Yeah.
So that's fair.
Another
Marvin Harrison
another
he wasn't the highest performing rookie on his team this week though. Lad
I
McConkey,
was that
yeah,
was what I was gonna bring up. Lad McConkey, another rookie who has really kind of worked his way into that Chargers offense,
Chargers,
which is not a particularly pass heavy, but he's found his role.
yeah, they have nobody, and like you said, they're very run heavy. So that Lad McConkey could be a pretty good start for
Yeah.
Jacob going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they really have a number one guy, but he's definitely evolving as the guy that they kind of lean towards in the passing game. But also Atlanta defense. I mean, I don't know that I would have started the Atlanta defense against New Orleans. I think that's maybe a little bit of a brave decision
I'm not
because
sure what his other option would have been.
well, maybe anyone off waivers probably.
The Atlanta defense is so far 3 points,
But
3 points, 2 points, 17 points. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely a bold start from Jacob there to keep.
Yeah, especially against the New Orleans Saints, who had kind of been lighting people up earlier on in the season.
Yeah.
But to be honest, it paid dividends, right? I mean, and his team performed above average. Obviously, they scored almost 10 points over their projected. But the real story here is that Cody's team stunk, right? I mean,
That's true.
his team just couldn't get his only player to score. He had two players that scored over 9 points. And it was Christian Kirk and Brock Purdy, both in the 15-6
Yeah.
club, which is not what you're looking for from your quarterback. His defense was his number 3 scoring player at 9.
Yeah.
And then, I mean,
Awful
he
this
even
week.
had some.
His kicker had more points than almost all of his skilled players.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, which not
Except for
ideal situation.
Myers.
Yeah.
And then, Mark Andrews. We talked about Mark Andrews a little last week, right? You can't start him, you can't sit him. You just hope you don't have him, right?
At what point,
Um,
Andrew, at what point do you think Cody needs to trade Andrews? Do you think he could sell him for something kind of valuable? You think he should drop him? What do you think?
I
what do you get for him?
I say you keep it because I don't think Mark Andrews is going to lose you a weekly matchup, but I think he could win one for you.
That's
Like,
reasonable.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
if you lose because of your tight end, then your team was really bad.
Yeah.
But if your
sure.
tight end can go out there and get you 15 points a random week, then like that's
Yeah.
awesome. And Mark Andrews has that ability that even like Goddard doesn't
Yeah.
really. I think he did it
Yeah.
last, but that's like super rare and in between.
I think Andrews is in for a big week because
He's due.
they're playing the Bengals next. So
Well, and
Yeah.
here's the thing: I'm never gonna, look down on someone named Andrews. So I just
No,
think
that's fair.
at the end of the
Yeah.
day, they can come in clutch. So
Yeah. There's also this element of like, well, who do you get that's better than Mark Andrews, right?
exactly.
You can pick somebody up that might get you one catch for 25 yards. You can get 3.5 points every week.
Mhm.
Or you take a guy that'll give you a goose egg sometimes, but if he pops off, he'll give you 25 points.
Yep.
Like he can easily go for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Stay the course.
Yeah.
He's not got a bad team. They'll kick it in. Like
Yeah.
he's gonna be okay. So
Yeah.
We'll just wait for for Lamar Jackson to be in MVP conversation, then Mark Andrews will look really good again. But yeah, so unfortunate week for Cody. You hate to say it, but good job, Jacob. Right? I mean, his team really pulled it out.
he can, going back to reality a little bit. Jacob's, Maddie had a tough week. So I'm glad that Jacob was able to get a big victory this week to
Yeah,
have some positivity going on. So nice job, Jacob. We're
yeah.
all thinking of you. You're probably not even listening to this, but we're
Probably
still
not even listening. Yeah, he went on a nice little hike. He sent me a picture of it. It was pleasant. I liked it. But anyways, all right, let's move on to the next one. Right, we got the perfect Plute Ballers and Zach on the Crouch.
Crouch.
Zach on the Crouch. So unfortunately for Zach, he has still not won a game.
Good.
I do like. Did you guys notice that they? Oh no, this is just like how much interaction you've had on the Yahoo. See how like Zach on the
Yes.
couch is bronze because he doesn't do anything, and Josiah is silver because he's done a little bit.
I think it's based on how many years you've done it. Is to
Okay,
my knowledge.
gotcha. Because
Like
I'm gold. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I-
platinum. Certainly not to the skill level.
yeah, that's fair. All right, well, let's take a look here. Let's see what we made. The Plute Ballers obviously taking the dub, but not convincing, right? I mean,
It was
it
close.
kind of
One of the closer matchups of the week, I think.
it was. Yeah, both teams underperforming pretty heavily. Um, let's play the game real quick. I like to play that was if I was better at seeing the future, would I have won the game? And I think the answer for Zach is probably maybe no. I mean, I guess you could play Cortland Sutton over
Over Drake London.
Trevor, I'm platinum as well, so suck
all
it.
right, okay. Well, we'll double check when we get to me, but I probably am. Uh,
I'll
I don't.
There is a world where Zach could have won if he started Sutton over London, Baker
And
over
then
Lamar,
Baker,
and the
yeah,
Pittsburgh defense. Or sorry, the
over Chicago, yeah,
defense.
yeah.
Yep.
He did have a line to victory.
Yeah.
Um,
Zach has one of the more Zach's got one of the more difficult quarterback situations in the league, I think.
he
Maybe
does.
fantasy because he's got Lamar Jackson, MVP caliber
Uh-huh.
but he's also got Baker Mayfield on his bench, who's just lighting it up this year.
Yep.
Andrew,
Mhm.
what did you see when you talk about Baker Mayfield's performance this past week? What did you see? I know you watched all of it.
Yeah, so what I saw was about I want to say the last 2 minutes of the game because during the entirety of the game I was driving to King of Prussia to
Ow.
eat
Mm.
at Fogo de Chao with my family. So I actually did not at one point I looked on my phone and saw it was 14-0 Buccaneers. And at that point I was like, well, I don't have to listen to this game. And then I listened to film scores for the remainder of the 3.5 hour drive. So
They're probably
um
Well,
so all
Andrew,
that to say, what's up?
no, go ahead.
No, yeah. I mean, I think in a sense, maybe you just, look at matchups here on out, like who's Lamar
Mm.
going up against versus who's Baker Mayfield going up against. That gets a little dicey because you start to play week to week. Now, here we're seeing 29, 19, 9, and 28. I don't know what Lamar has done, if it's been a bit more consistent. Maybe we look
It's
at.
less consistent, actually. I think Baker is a
about
little bit better.
17
Well,
points.
I guess that's not true. Lamar has been a
So
little bit
yeah,
more
so
consistent.
basically you're going with,
Number 3 overall quarterback right now.
Yeah, you're right.
and what's Baker?
Overall
I
player,
think
sorry.
two probably.
Yeah, Baker's up
Oh,
there.
six.
Yeah, so but again, that's like total points. But
Mm-hmm.
at this point, Zach's doing it. He's not making mistakes as far as
Mm-hmm.
quarterback goes. Maybe Baker pops off. Obviously, this week, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it would be better to start Baker, but you can't. I mean, maybe you
Can't.
know that going into it because the Eagles defense is pretty poop trash, but uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe. I mean, maybe he's got to trade Baker, right? I mean, you're 0-4 at this point. If you're Zach, you got to make plays if you want to make the playoffs, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we're at this point a quarter of the way into the season, um, give or take, right? You know, you got to start winning some games here to try and make a push. I don't
Yeah.
know what exactly he's lacking. I mean, I say tight end. Everyone's tight end sucks, so that's not real.
You probably need some help with the receiver category because I think you got McLaurin and Drake London, and you're both pretty good.
I say
But
I honestly don't even hate his team. I think he's just maybe had a string of bad luck.
Just bad. Yeah.
I do think he could use. I think he could use a solid receiver because I like his running backs: Bijan
I
Robinson,
say,
Travis
yeah, those
Etienne,
are good and ATN.
Ramondre
But to be
Stevenson.
honest, I think I like Scary Terry long term. I think Jaden Daniels is really picking it up, and all of a sudden we could look over and see Scary Terry as like the 6 or 7 wide receiver on the year. To be honest,
Yeah,
uh,
I think having Drake London as his wide receiver one as far as
yeah,
the draft position, I think that's probably hurting him because
that's probably so.
I don't really know what's going on down there in Atlanta
Yeah,
with Kirk Cousins.
and you don't want to be starting Cortland Sutton, but Bo Nix
Well,
doesn't look that
with
good.
so correct me if I'm wrong. He's got kind of Atlanta's receiver one and Atlanta's running back one, and
Correct.
so if they start not doing great on the pass, then they just commit fully to running back, which
Yeah,
is good in one sense, but then he loses his other
yeah,
half.
yeah. Or they lose and then you don't get any
And they
points.
both tank. Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Bijan Robinson's had a decent year so far, so I'm not too
yeah,
worried about him long term. I think he's going to get utilized quite a bit.
yeah.
So yeah,
I don't.
Zach's probably just run into a string of bad luck. Honestly, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, he's got a good team. I like his players. It's just not working out for him so far.
an interesting thing he could consider as well is, I mean, I think that he probably doesn't need Pittsburgh and Chicago defense. I think those are both almost plug and play defenses. You probably don't really need to stream those. He could probably drop one and pick somebody else up. I mean, he does have Austin Eckler here that's out, which is a little bit unfortunate. I don't even hate it. I don't know if Algier is available, but probably picking up Algier is kind of a handcuff to Bijan Robinson,
Mhm.
because he's been getting. They've kind of been a little bit back and forth on targets and carries. I think Algier's been getting a little bit more than Robinson
Yeah.
actually, but just something to consider.
Yeah. Zach, we're pulling for you. Reach out for help.
Hmm.
Pay attention to your team.
What do we
Try to
got here on the Plute Ballers? Right, Kyler stinks. He scored almost as many points as centimeters as he is tall. Um,
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
um,
He had a you could say that Josiah had two quarterbacks on his team this week. What can
you
you say?
could wide receiver, a quarterback one and quarterback one, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown threw. Did he throw more touchdowns than Kyler Murray did?
He
No,
definitely threw more touchdowns than Jared Goff threw incompletions.
that's true. Well, so Amon-Ra St. Brown and Kyler Murray threw the same amount of touchdowns. However, Amon-Ra St. Brown caught more touchdowns than Kyler Murray did.
So did Jared Goff.
So did Jared Goff, to be fair. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, his team really, they were okay, right? He had three guys that kind of carried the weight of his team with James Conner, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and
Mhm.
then Shaheed. And then beyond that, everyone was just kind of pulling up the rear, right? I guess Cleveland you could put in that camp as well, but you don't like putting an 11 pointer in your big scores for the week.
It was good to see Shaheed bounce back. He had the big
Hmm.
goose egg last week, but he still had 5 targets last week, so he's still a
That's
big
true.
part of the offense.
Yeah.
11 targets this week. That's an insane amount of targets. So
Yeah. 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 They're definitely picking up steam there with Shaheed.
yeah,
Um,
I also like Jake Elliott going forward too. I mean, the Eagles'
yeah.
offense is supposed to be pretty good. He hasn't had a
I
good
disagree, but
couple weeks, but Jake
You
Elliott is
disagree that they are or that they're supposed to be good?
I disagree that they are
Jake
both.
Okay.
is supposed to be one of the better kickers in the league. So I think the Eagles will probably find some stride on offense,
We
and Jake
can
Elliott will get more opportunities.
we can talk about this more during the upcoming matchup if we do that
Sure.
for Levi and myself later. But it's very Eagles reliant.
Okay. Okay.
We can chat about that then.
Well, maybe just two notes here on the bench here for the perfect flute ballers, right? Taysom Hill. I remember we were dogging on Taysom Hill, the Storm and Mormon. He came out. I think he put up two touchdowns. All right, yeah, he had two rushing touchdowns for
24 yards.
24 yards. I mean, that is a quality performance from your tight end.
Yeah,
There's
and
no doubt.
of course he would do that after last week when we said that he should drop him. So
That's true. Yeah, we did say that, didn't we? What did he do? What has he done
Cody
so
should
far?
trade Mark Andrews for Taysom Hill.
To be honest,
that
I
honestly wouldn't be a bad idea.
I might start Taysom Hill over Mark Andrews. I
Mhm.
might. I don't know that I would. I don't have to make that decision.
Might do it.
Um,
At this
but
point, honestly, that might not be a bad idea. Cody,
yeah,
Josiah, I mean, it's up to them if they want to do it, but I would
yeah.
not veto that trade.
Especially because he's already got Sam Laporta, who's a plug and play. You're never starting Taysom Hill over Sam Laporta.
Yeah, unless Derek Carr gets hurt, but then you don't really know
That's
what
true.
they're going to do with Taysom Hill.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fair.
Um,
All right, fair
Pittman on
enough.
the bench is a little rough. Anthony
Hmm.
Richardson going down. We'll talk about that later with Aaron's team.
Yeah.
But not
Speaking,
sure what to think about Pittman going forward.
what now?
I'm not sure what to think about Pittman going forward,
Yeah,
depending on
it's a
how
tough
long.
one.
Depending on.
Depends if Flacco likes thrown to him or not, right? Or if how long Richardson's out for.
Mhm.
Well, speaking of Aaron's team, we've got the roommate battle 2024. We've got light the egg on fire and do it for Dharmas.
Do it for Dave.
Darn.
Do a Dharmas. All right. So obviously Levi's team has kind of been on a tear, right? When they're winning,
He's
he's
Place.
number
winning.
one overall right now. So
Is he really? Yeah.
I
Yeah. Oh,
guess
it says right there, doesn't it? Look at that. He's
Mhm.
kind of been just ripping through teams, right? I mean, I remember Sam and I, like after we drafted, we went and we started going through people's teams. and we were looking at Levi's team, and we told him that we thought his team sucked.
We're very
And
wrong, which just does not help the podcast. But
it, it
Most points for out of any of the teams, and I would say he's in the definitely the bottom half of points against, but it's not
yeah,
a paltry sum by any point.
yeah.
Any means. I can pull up some averages here, but
We probably definitely need to talk about the elephant in the room, or you might even say the king in the room, right? Derrick Henry. I mean,
crazy.
jeez. Um,
That 87-yard run to start the game was
yeah.
I still. I mean, do you remember I was talking about because they used to tell you when you drafted them. Yeah, there it is. Okay, right here, history. He
draft
was
room.
the 13th overall, which means he was the second. I guess he
All of
was.
us
Are there
passed
14
him
of us?
over.
There were 14 of us, right?
12.
So, well,
There's
this is a first. Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. So everybody did pass him. This was a second round pick for Derrick Henry.
Yep.
And I mean, geez, has he been just ripping through teams?
Yeah.
We talked about it last week, right? Where he's a volume guy. The more you give him the ball, the better he is.
Mhm.
Week 1, he kind of stunk. Week 2, they picked it up. Week 3, look at that, 25 carries. He went crazy. This past week, 24 carries. He went even crazier.
Yeah, I like how you say week 1 he kind of stunk. And 10 points for a running back. That's not
Yeah.
bad.
Well, 10 points from your number 2 draft pick, who's supposed to be your RB1, probably isn't great. But to be fair, I don't think any of my guys scored 10 points.
Yeah,
Maybe they did. Maybe Andrew can speak otherwise.
we'll talk about that in a bit.
But only this week.
Levi's running backs are, no pun intended, they are carrying his team.
Oh my goodness.
Kamara,
Alvin Kamara.
Taylor, goodness gracious, he's got a three-headed monster there at running back.
I did not realize Alvin Kamara is the number 1 scoring fantasy football player.
I was trying to figure out who that was. Yeah.
And he was taken 61st overall.
Man,
That was a 6th round draft pick.
goodness.
We all passed up on Alvin Kamara. That's on us.
Multiple times.
Yeah. But anyways, that's pretty brutal to see from us. But yeah, I mean Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, and then Derrick Henry. That alone made up what?
I mean that
Math like 70 points.
Yeah, they beat Aaron all by themselves, I think.
Is that right? What is that? Let me do some quick math. 18.3 plus 34.4 plus 21.4. That's 74.1 points, just those 3 guys.
Wow. And 18 scored 75.
Yeah, I mean, jeez. He could have started David Njoku, Devontae Smith, whoever this guy is, and it wouldn't have mattered. He was always winning this one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good week for Levi there. Just a good team. Those running backs. I'm interested to see how long that can last because a wise man once told me that running backs are the most vulnerable to injury.
Sure.
I think I said that, but
no, I was referring to Andrew.
I think I said that before. I think I told Andrew that.
You 100% did not tell me that.
I'm pretty sure that I inceptioned that straight into Andrew's
In
brain.
no way, shape, or form did you tell me that. That's an Andrewism from
pretty sure I said that.
You did not.
While we're on the topic of running backs, let's.
I think that was more a Colin Cowherd thing, but
why don't we look at Aaron's running backs, namely C. Steele, with a negative 0.9 points. I don't think that's much.
I was a little bit high on Connor Steele preseason. I was like, he's gonna get some touches, especially with Isaiah Pacheco going down. I was like, he's gonna be the guy, and boy, was he not the guy.
He was not. Looks like Kareem Hunt might be the guy now. So if he's available, somebody go pick him up.
Surely somebody scooped him, but maybe not. Tony Pollard sitting here on the bench probably hurts, as does whoever that guy is. And man, he actually had a lot of points here sitting on the bench. 70 points sitting there.
Yeah, he made a good call with benching Richardson, even though it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
Goff had a great game.
I was going to say, we can't not talk about Jared Goff. As one of my favorite YouTubers to watch says, nobody beats Goff. So here's Jared Goff's stats: 292, two passing touchdowns, one reception, one receiving touchdown. I mean,
Efficiency.
an incredible stat line. It doesn't say here either, right? But he was 18 for 18. He statistically threw, I mean, what, the best game anyone's ever played as a quarterback?
Maybe. I don't know.
Technically, it wasn't a perfect passer rating because they needed him to score another touchdown in two more passes. But no one has had a better completion wise game. The most that anyone has gotten a full completion, like no incompletions, was 11 passes.
It's harder.
So
It's hard to get 100% of your passes completed.
right, yeah. So the best anyone had was 11 for 11, whereas he was 18 for 18, which is pretty insane.
Here's a fun
Um,
fact that I like about Jared Goff. In 3 of his games this year, he's had 18 completions.
hmm,
So, yeah.
man, nobody beats Goff. Look at him though. Look at that man.
All right, we got 9.5 minutes here. Should we?
Yeah, we got to power through a little bit more here. All right, so next up is the Wizards of the Light and the W Squad. We had Matt on last week, and boy, did Matt, come in and just
Bounce
knock
back.
the yeah. He definitely turned the lights off, if you know what I
Yep.
mean.
Hmm?
We got Jaden Daniels popping off, and then Mike Evans doing Mike Evans things, right?
Real quick,
What do you?
I'm gonna say something that I'm only gonna say like for this week because this ain't gonna continue, but it is so nice to have a good quarterback in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a division rival, don't like the team, but for the city, it's good they've got a winner, it seems like
They got a
early on.
guy, yeah.
They got a guy, and maybe he's not a winner, but they at least have
This
someone to
win so
sell
far, they already
jerseys,
won.
which is a been a long time since then. Last one they
I
had Carson Wentz, I think. So
I was gonna say nobody was out there buying Trevor Heineke or Sam Howell jerseys, right?
no,
They finally have a guy they can believe in.
seems like it. Yep.
But yeah, so Matt also has Jordan Mason, who looks like is going to be the guy for the foreseeable future there in
Apparently, McCaffrey
San
doesn't have
Fran.
legs anymore. That's the rumor I heard.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a reason why we talk about. That's why I was telling you guys, right? That the longevity of running backs is an issue.
That is something a wise man named Andrew said one time,
Yeah,
multiple
maybe
times.
so. This is always a fun stat line for any receiving players. Getting negative points is kind of difficult to do.
Mhm.
So he has one catch for negative 9 yards,
How does that
which
happen?
Well, he caught
especially
the
from a
ball and then he went backwards.
Oh,
but from
okay.
a tight end,
Yeah.
like I
He's a
see it as
check
like a
down
bubble screen.
position.
So he got the
Yeah.
he got the ball. He caught it. It was like 2 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, and he got hit, and it looked like his forward progress was stopped, but then it wasn't. And then he ran backwards, and then thought the play was dead, and then they just kind of like pushed him out of bounds for a loss
Oh.
or something like
That's a weird play.
that. I
Man,
think there's
Cincinnati,
some weird stat about him having like the least amount of reception yards for a tight end, like the second least amount of reception yards for a tight end in a game. Something.
Interesting.
But yeah, you never would have thought, if I told you that Kyle Pitts was going to get 0 points and outscore the other tight ends, you probably wouldn't have believed me.
I would not have believed you actually. Um, Now, while we're on the topic, we got to bring up JMO Williams. 2 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. That's a pretty efficient stat.
Not
It's
bad.
almost like Jared Goff was throwing him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
We got here on the losing side, right, with the Tanner guy.
Tanner had a
Um,
pretty good week.
he did, yeah. He would have beat a lot of teams this week, but unfortunately, not Matt this week.
Yeah,
Chris
performed
Olave,
good. His running backs killed it.
mhm.
You know,
Kenneth Walker had a
I
great
thought that
game.
was Ray Rice for a second at running
Rasheed
back, but
Rice.
he
Oh,
is no longer in the league.
he's for a multitude of reasons, really.
Been kicked out, no pun
Yeah.
intended.
He's unplayable for at least two reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kenneth Walker had a great game. Um, he had a really interesting play where he like flipped around on his head, and technically, I think he was down because your helmet's not allowed to touch the ground. But they let it ride because it was kind of neat, uh, you know, which is fair.
Take a look at
Yeah.
let's take a look at Matt's bench. Look at all those points that were on his bench. Moss, Swift,
Wow.
Love, Addison.
Wow. That's a lot of bench points.
Yeah.
Almost 100 bench points.
He would have his bench beat Tanner.
That's what I was gonna ask. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately for all of us, these players won't have another week like this. This was it. DeAndre Swift gets one of those.
Yeah.
Who's to say, right? But
Good
all right.
games.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah. Oh,
even
there's
know Love was
Algier that I was
back.
talking about earlier.
I
Yeah.
gotta change my picks.
All right. All right. Let's go ahead and move on here to the next one, because we've got to save time for the premiere one, right?
Yeah.
We got the Steagles and the Numballers. What do you guys say here, Sam? I mean, you kind of beat up Paul, right?
Yeah, so well, it was actually a really close matchup heading into last night. He had David Montgomery. I think I was beating him by 2 points going into last night. He took the lead really quick when Montgomery scored a touchdown, but then Jameer Gibbs and DK Metcalf were just a little too much.
Yeah.
Um,
Jameer
it-
Gibbs was great.
yeah, the
Even
matchup.
Jake Moody putting up 13 is nice.
Yeah, the matchup was a little closer than it looks. But I got that Moody Booty came out again.
Money Moody, baby.
Defense played really well. Brian Robinson Jr. Thanks for suggesting me drafting him,
I
Trevor.
told you he's better than Bijan.
Yep. Bad week for Josh Allen. I think if Josh Allen has a normal week, Paul, might come out on top.
Yeah, it's true.
Paul being at 1-3 with the team that he has is pretty surprising.
I
I
believe
wasn't
he's the
expecting that.
third highest scorer or something like that. Let
Yeah.
me check.
Yeah.
Yep, he's
Yeah,
the
and I
third
mean,
highest scorer, and he's in 8th place, barely making the playoffs at this rate.
wow.
Which
And
is, kind of scary for at this. Obviously, it's going to change a lot, you'd think, but scary for whoever is the first seed because there are a lot. Like if Paul
yeah,
continues to make the playoffs, but like loses these weird flunky matchups and then sticks it out at seed 8, he could have
yeah,
a good week playing number 1 come playoff time.
Yeah, I would not
certainly.
want to play Paul when his
No.
Yeah,
on any week. So I think Paul just needs to stick the course and just keep
yeah,
playing these guys because he's got some studs over there.
he does. He does. When even his bench, right, putting up 16 points or 65 points, that's kind of wild. All right, we got 3.5 minutes left, so we got to hit the premier matchup, the biggest blowout of the week.
Oh, massive
Um,
blowout.
Andrew hasn't lost like this since American Unsightly.
This
Yeah,
was
would you?
this was my pegged year when I went in with such high expectations and it flopped miserably.
And no one laughed in the
And the
room.
crowd was silent.
Andrew, how does it feel to join the losers club?
Yeah,
Here's the thing. For 4 straight weeks, I was projected to lose. So bound to happen one time. Still sitting at 3-1. You got to get the team back. Get it. I still believe in the team. Little worried with the Saquon Barkley bye week coming up week 5, but
mm-hmm.
going against Levi, who has Jalen Hurts on bye. So maybe a little evening out there. We'll see. But proud of the squad, proud of the boys. We took it on the chin.
Starting Geno Smith over Patrick Mahomes.
I'm sorry.
Do you have any regrets not starting Geno Smith over Patrick Mahomes?
I mean, like obviously hindsight is 2020. That's only a 5-point difference, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't think anything was going to matter this time.
Oh wait, it's not a 5-point difference. Never mind.
I know you toyed around last week with starting Derek Carr over Patrick Mahomes. Did you think about that this week too?
No, because I felt like I liked the matchup more. I forget who Derek Carr was playing.
They
Oh,
played
the Atlanta game. I just
Atlanta.
didn't know which
Yeah.
way that was going to go, and I guessed right, I guess. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Geno Smith's. It's sort of that same. I forget who had the. Oh, kind of like the Baker Mayfield Lamar matchup. That
Yeah.
or
I think
someone
that's
else
Zach.
had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone where it's like Lamar's definitely the better one, but Geno's kind of outperforming. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway.
With Rashee Rice out, you kind of wonder, like, I mean, the Chiefs are still going to be good. There's no question about that. But you kind of wonder, like, what Mahomes' stats are going to look like going forward.
Yeah, and at least with Seattle, they're seemingly, to my knowledge, they're kind of putting a bunch of points up on people, which
They're scoring points.
yeah, Kansas City isn't really doing that.
No.
And also Seattle is at least in shootout kind of games with everybody, where Kansas City it seems like they put like 17, 20 points up, and then
Right.
so
Right.
we'll see going forward. I don't want to hog up all the time. We'll see going forward. Definitely consideration, but I don't want to sit Mahomes. Then he goes off for 35 points, which is
Trevor,
not.
real
Not
quick,
my
talk about your team's performance this week.
Yes, I mean, give it up for the home team, right? I mean, they all kind of went crazy, right? CJ Stroud threw to Nico Collins like a billion touchdowns, so they both scored a bunch of points. CD Lamb, we don't like seeing the Cowboys win, but I do like seeing CD Lamb score touchdowns. Rashad White, is that it? Which one is this? I can never remember. Yeah, it is Rashad White.
Yeah,
He did exactly what he was supposed to do, right? That's what we expect from him. Devin Singletary kind of stunk. To be honest, I don't really expect much out of Devin Singletary. Travis Kelce,
finally, yeah.
he finally put up some points. I mean, he's kind of stunk so far, but hey, we'll take that.
real quick, Trevor, the rest of your team did really good. We're almost out of time. Guys, bye weeks are starting this week.
Yep.
Check your team. If you're listening, you're probably not, but bye weeks are starting.
That's
Levi.
right. Next week I play against Tanner.